So welcome, and we thank you for coming. The program that we will render today will be as follows. We have the invocation by Brother Nelson, followed by the President's remarks by Brother Neal, historical perspective of the monument of and comments via light by Brother Guest. Then the voice for the monument, the erection of the monument by Brother Lowry. Then we'll sing the hymn directed by Brother Ken Clark. Then we'll proceed the wreath. The brothers in the laying of the wreath party will be Brother Hill, Brother Lowry, Brother Elliott, and Brother Rupert. Okay? Brother Nelson.
All right, let us pray, brothers. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you set aside for this occasion, where we both remember our dear brother, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, as well as this chapter and its founding. We thank you for being an inspiration in both situations. We ask you to be present in this time of remembering, and that you would also compel us forward to do the work that we should be doing in Alpha. And it's in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Before the hymn, we will have closing remarks by Executive Vice President Brother Testifies.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Today, December 9th, 2018, we, the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, along with family, friends, and loved ones, come here as no surprise to us all. This will mark the third anniversary of us being here in the backdrop of being in the most important city in the world, current day events, prestige, politics, and all the problems we deal with today. It is only appropriate that on such an ice-cold day we find ourselves here with the Brotherhood. And of course, Brother King. We all know what he stood for. We all know what Alpha stands for. But when you really think about it, we come here for three reasons. We come here to commemorate the life and legacy of Dr. King. We also come here to remember the role that Alpha played in making all this possible. In particular, we remember that spark and that energy, diligence, the scholarly activities of our chapter brothers who put in countless hours at their kitchen tables, countless hours of networking to make this 30-foot monument at a cost of $120 million possible. Finally, we come here also because we love all these brothers that gave so much to Alpha and to this country. No matter how much we love them, they're not coming back. So what that means for us, we need to take that manhood, that diligence, that commitment to excellence that we leave here, take it back to our chapters, take it back to our commitment to excel. So as I conclude, let me just say that service, sacrifice, and commitment to excellence will always be important, not just for Alpha, but for us as individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother President. And now, Brother Clark, historical perspective of the monument.
Good evening, brothers, ladies, and others assembled. The names are, in addition to Brother King, the names you want to remember are Brother George Seeley, Brother John Harvey, Brother Henry, Brother Harold Navy, Brother Oscar Little, and Brother Eddie Madison. These brothers' names are not in Wikipedia. And Al Bailey, I'm sorry, Al Bailey, Brother Al Bailey. These names, if you look up this monument, are not in Wikipedia. They would not get recognition nationally. Nor will IUL. Our name is not in Wikipedia either. when you talk about this monument. So these brothers labored in anonymity and for the rest of the world. But beginning in 1993, Brother Seeley made an announcement in our chapter meeting that we've now got Martin Luther King Memorial as a nice holiday. Let's build a monument. And the brothers kind of smiled. Some thought he was crazy, but a few said, not a bad idea, George. How do we do that? And these brothers began to meet in his kitchen and began to plan on how to get that started. Brother Seeley was a very smart man. He worked in the State Department. He knew about monuments. He knew about policy and procedures and how to get things done. And so he started that process. He worked with Congresswoman Connie Morella, with Senators Sarbanes and Warner, and over 11 years of lobbying began to do the work necessary to help get this started. Well, a year after we presented it in our chapter meeting, we presented it to the national office. The national office got behind it a little slowly at first, but pretty soon the idea picked up, and they got behind it also. And then, so by the time, after 11 years, in 1996, we got the bill passed in Congress, signed by Bill Clinton, November 12th, 1996. Took another 15, 16 years to raise the money. And I think our brother here will talk about that part. But we actually eventually got to close to $120 million, because that's what the record says we did. But it took a lot of money, it took a lot of giving, a lot of work, a lot of people. But the idea started, just a small idea, in our chapter, IUL, in 1983. So as we depart this place, we should think about the fact that true to our motto, first of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all. This monument is the first monument to an African American on this national mall. So another first. It transcends many others. It's bigger than many others in terms of the amount of property we take up, which is pretty good. But the goals and aspiration of our fraternity and our people for justice, fairness, and equality in all aspects of our lives have never been more threatened than it was since the murder of Dr. King. As such, let us each, like Harvey, Navy, Little, Madison, Bailey, Chile, work for not for eternal recognition, but for eternal impact, positive impact on the lives of our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Clark. And now, neophyte comments, Brother Ellis.
Evening, brothers.
Good evening.
In Brother absence, he had an issue with his daughter earlier. Hospital, everything's good. I'll be written a few words from both of us. So, statue before us celebrates the life of Brother Martin Luther King Jr. We both personally learned from his example set forth in the values that he lived by. The values of courage, truth, justice, compassion, dignity, humility, and service, all of which are hallmarks of our dear fraternity. Through his example, we aspire to be a better man, better fathers, and better brothers.
Brother Lowry. Brother Lowry was instrumental and involved in all aspects of developing this monument.
Just reflecting, I was elected president of New Lambda back in 1988. One of the first calls I received was pointing to Brother Seeley's house and assembled with other presidents and chapters in the different areas. That summer, I think the convention had just approved as a fraternal project this construction. I asked how much we had raised, and to my surprise, it was, well, it might have been 5 figures, but it was low 5 figures. So I couldn't wrap my head around it. I said, oh Lord, I knew this was going to take at that time, we didn't have a budget. They didn't know how much, but we knew we wanted to be bigger than a phone booth. So fast forward to 2001, and I got a call from then General President Harry Johnson, asked me to meet him over at the Renaissance Hotel. So we sat there in the lobby. They offered me the position of Executive Director, Chief Operating Officer, whatever, of the foundation. And I was stunned, quite frankly, but very, very honored and very pleased to accept. I was getting ready to retire from the federal government, so the timing was perfect. So in January 2002, rolled up my sleeves and walked. We were in the building museum in those days. We started the project. Now, the thing that goes through my mind is the timing was absolutely fabulous. Can you imagine trying to get this done in today's political climate? It probably wouldn't happen, even though we did have the majority Democrats, et cetera, in the Congress. We still had a few hurdles to overcome. And it's like telling tales out of school, but it put us on notice. This plot, I guess is a better way of describing it, we were told was reserved for presidents. Well, this was actually, I wasn't officially part of it, but Seeley and others asked, okay, which president? I said, well, we don't know yet. But one of them's going to come along, and this is where their monument's going to be. But wait, you know, that kind of thing. So we got over that hurdle. Then they told us, once we got it approved, that there was about a 10-year span that I won't go into. There was some no, it wasn't internal to Alpha. That's just internal to African Americans, let's put it that way, that caused us to have a delay. Some of you probably know what I'm talking about. It's sort of an unspoken rule. We won't mention it out in public. But yeah, is that if you don't know, if you pull me up afterwards, I'll tell you about it. At any rate, we finally got the approval. Well, the first thing, we had to go through the National Capital Planning Commission, Fine Arts Commission, National Park Service. There's all of these duplicative, frankly, agencies, but you had to kiss all the rings and all those other kinds of good things. After we got the site, they told us it had to be less than 20 feet high. We said, why? I said, well, you'll block the view of the Jefferson Memorial as you drive down Independence Avenue. So Ed Jackson, who I believe was made in your chapter, as a matter of fact, was our executive architect. He commissioned, if you can imagine, a pickup truck with a tripod camera on the back and drove from down Independence, filming what you see. Wow. You cannot see them. So anyway, then we found out later that the Lincoln and the Jefferson memorials, guess what? They're 19 feet high. So we think that's where they were getting this below 20 feet max. So I did get them to concede that, well, what if we somehow dropped the monument below grade and then that part above grade make it less than 20 feet. So they finally had to concede that. As it turned out, we did get the 30-foot limit. But those were some of the hurdles, shall I say, that we had to go through. In retrospect now, they're almost laughable. Many of you don't realize there was another monument to blacks in the Civil War. It was going to be located between Independence and Constitution Avenue. It was approved. I saw the designs. They didn't raise the money. Well, let's just say the monument didn't get the money. I'll put it that way. So it jeopardized any project that was dedicated to blacks in terms of fundraising support. A lot of people, it's unbelievable how many people turned us down when we asked for donations. They later recanted. Some of the more famous ones, thank goodness, they came back. But those were some of the hurdles, if you will, that we had to go, some of the hoops that we had to jump through that may not be in Wikipedia. I don't know. I haven't really checked lately. but it caused us a lot of angst, and we were so proud we were able to get around some of those hurdles. The original design submitted by the Roma group actually had a walkway that was going to go across the top of the mountain, if you can imagine, of despair. It was going all the way over. It was wide enough to have a walkway and alcoves with additional speech excerpts on them. The alcoves had seating that will allow you to contemplate, reflect on Dr. King's speeches, etc. That was rejected. They felt that somebody would get up over there and fall over the edge or whatever, and so they wiped that out. But I thought it was going to be very dramatic. People didn't like it because they felt our design was very close to the Vietnam Memorial and the arc type of thing with engraving on the walls, etc., etc. So there was a lot of negativism, but we were able to overcome that, and goodness knows we should be justified and proud. IUL, you heard the names. I got a chance to meet each of those brothers. We got a chance to talk to people like Sarbanes, Warner, and Connie Morella, etc., not to mention some of the CEOs of General Motors, of Tommy Hilfiger, etc., that came on board after the thing became sort of like a momentum building motion. Then everybody couldn't wait to get their check, Marriott, etc., But I couldn't be prouder of having worked on this project. And I think I've worked on new military aircraft, space shuttle, nuclear weapons, you name it. But this is where your heart lies. And like I said, there were so many naysayers that it really does the soul proud. The pride started right with IUL, and I think everybody within the fraternity hopefully recognizes it and acknowledges it, because Brother Sealy, Bailey, all those, I mean, they constantly lobbied and got, again, the necessary parts in place for us to make this a reality. I applaud you for having the foresight and warmth and all those other good things with this ice cold day. But I hope that this monument will persuade all Americans and worldwide that Dr. King deserved this honor. And again, I'm very pleased, and thank you very much for having me come in today.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Brother Lowry,
Thank you,
for sharing those thoughts with us. Now we'll have closing remarks by Brother Kevin Johnson. Then we will sing the hymn. Once we sing the hymn, we will go through and go to the front, and then the brothers whose names that I call will place the wreath in the front of the monument. Okay?
Brother Johnson. Thanks, brother.
First of all, let me say thank you, Brother Smith, for putting this together, you and your committee. As always, you've done a great job bringing us out the code, absolutely, and making sure that we celebrate this accordingly. So let's give Brother Smith and his committee a round of applause. To that, I want to say thank all of you, brothers, family, friends, for coming down. Again, braving the cold, coming from your own specific or individual destinations to get here and enjoy this with us. It's been a fantastic experience. This is our third year doing this. We will continue to do this every year because we want to not only ensure that the legacy is held, but make sure that our chapter and the brothers that are part of our fraternity have an opportunity to do this on the Mall on this particular day. So thank you very much for coming down. Thank you very much for participating. And let's make sure that when we go back, we take the thoughts and the ideas that we've learned today with us back to our chapters, back to our homes, back to our families, so that we can understand what this gentleman and what our fraternity is all about. Brother Smith and Brother President touched on a couple of things that I want to expound upon. It seems that we're waking up every day nowadays, seeing examples of a lack of leadership, seeing examples of and hearing examples of a lack of commitment, a lack of dedication, a lack of courage, a lack of integrity. And I often ask myself, and I'm sure some of you may as well, ask, what's the next step? What's going to happen to the things that are happening with our country, our people, and of course our communities. So we often look for a sign or a light, and I submit to you that our leadership doesn't have to look far for a beacon, because it is right here on the national, ironically, right here in front of us. This gentleman represented noble ideas. He is the great example of courage, of commitment, of integrity, and of civility. If we want to take anything from this today, let's go back and help others understand that an example is right here before us. This gentleman is not only a great brother, but he's a great man, and a great inspiration for not just African Americans, but all peoples, not just in this country, but across the world. So I say that because, one, it's true, but two, as a chapter, we've adopted the moniker the Monument Chapter. And that's because, as a chapter, we have committed to ensuring that legacy is withheld, that legacy is carried on through the future generations here, because it's needed. And as brothers, we have dedicated ourselves to come here and make sure that happens. We've adopted the responsibility to uphold the noble ideas of Dr. King, and we've accepted the challenge of making sure that we spread the word that he decided to do, he wanted to do, he ensured that his people did over 50 years ago. So with that in mind, let's carry that message, let's carry that torch, let's carry that legacy with us as we move on today. I again thank you for coming. If folks are going back up to Silver Spring, I believe we're having something
At the school, 5 o'clock, brother and I.
at 5 o'clock, a social event, so please come out if you can. And please drive safely as we make our way to our house.
All right, brothers, if we form a circle, and Brother Elliott, Brother Peter, can we put the wreath and stand in the center of the circle?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
Huh? You coming back to the house, right? Yeah.
Come on in. Put your bar out there. Yeah, thanks.
I know.
You must give him another white, brother.